In this video tutorial, we're actually going to have a look inside a website theme for E107. The first thing you'll need to do is set up an FTP or SFTP connection to your website and log in. Now, if you haven't got an FTP program, there's lots of free ones that you can get from download.com. We use a program called Secure Effects because it allows SFTP connections, which are a lot more secure. Once you've logged in, you'll see a folder structure like this. So I'm working on the Grand's website at the moment. It shows all these folders. Your website is actually in the web folder. Homes contains all of the users for that website, but we're just concerned with the web folder. Next, you'll want to go to the E107 themes folder. And inside there are all the themes that are available for your website. In this instance, I'm using the clean template that's available for download, so you can see what I've done when I make a theme. From time to time, you may need to actually change like the background color of a page. Normally what I do is just make a really big table that's 100% tall and wide, so it just takes up the whole page. But if you do need to actually get into the body or header stuff, that's in the templates folder, and you'll see that there's a file called header defaults that you can edit. But most of the time you're actually just going to be playing around with your own theme. So you go inside clean template, and if I go on this side over here, which is my local computer, we can see that inside there's theme.php. Now that contains the basic structure of your website, the layout of your website. Then you've got style.css, which is the cascading style sheet for your website. Preview.jpg is what shows up when you're looking through the themes on your website, and I'll just show you what that looks like. If I go to grandparents raising grandchildren, I'm already logged in. Go into the admin area, and then go to Tools, Theme Manager. You'll see that for the clean template, here's my little screen cap, and that's this file here, preview.jpg. You've got these other folders here which aren't that necessary, but I'll explain in more depth what they are as we actually look through the theme.php file. Now the first thing I want you to do is actually create your own HTML document. Now make it as simple as possible, because you've got lots of stuff to learn as you go through making the theme. If you've never done PHP before, you'll get to see some PHP code as well. But I'll show you the basic theme that I made for clean template. If we go over here. So all I've done is I've made like a header area that's going to contain our logo. Then below that I've got a menu area that will contain our site links. And then this left column over here will be where I'll place our login menu and our chat box menu. The center area is for our main content, such as the news page or articles and content pages. And the right hand column over here, I could put a calendar in there, or even the other news summary, so they can click to the news pages. And at the bottom in our footer, that's just going to create our that's where we're going to create our site disclaimer, which can be edited in the admin area under settings preferences. So let's just have a quick look at that source so you can see what my page looks like. I've made it as basic as possible. I've also kept a lot of the style actually in the theme itself, so you can see what I'm doing. We don't need to worry about header and title tags and so forth, because E107 is actually going to write those out for us. What we need to be looking at is everything below body, because that's what we're going to put into the theme. I always do comment tags like this, just so we know where we are. So this is the main table start. You know, I've given it a width of 700 pixels. You can see what's going on there. I've told it to col span 3 of the columns, so it's going to go right across the page. And you're probably familiar with all of this sort of stuff. But you can look through that file. You can download it from the website and just see what I've done there. Okie dokie. So let's open up theme.php and have a look inside there. So here's our theme.php file. Oh, no, that's our theme.html. I'll go over here. So I'll go through and explain each of these areas. Here's the copyright notice for E107 for Steve Dunstan. You leave that in place because he was the one who originally started E107. And now we actually go down into some variables that are created. You actually don't need these, but I'll just go through and explain what they are anyway. So here's our multi-language area. So in this theme it's saying include from the E107 themes folder, that's what this means. Go to the clean template folder, which is my folder, to the languages directory, and bring in the language that is specified for this website, because you can use multiple languages. I haven't done that yet, but you can. And then it also says bring in the English one as well, so that'll bring in the English language version. Then below that you've got the information about the theme. Now if I go back to our E107 over here to the admin area, you'll see that it says author, Bryn Nielsen, release 7th of February, and so forth. All of that information is stored here. So theme name, clean template. This is the next generation of it. Previously it was done for E107 version 6. Now we're doing it for 7, which is a little bit different. Then you put your theme author, theme dates, and some brief information. It's based on Jaya's theme. I started off with his theme and his style sheet. Okay, this here, because there is the core style sheet, which is used like in the admin area. So we actually tell it to turn that off because we only want it to use its own style sheet. And you can also set up multiple layouts, but we're just saying, look, just use the default layout. I haven't actually used any different layouts before. Okay, now this is where we actually get to put our HTML code in. So if we look at here, it says header start. This is the variable, header start equals. Then you'll notice that it's got a double quote mark. That means that everything between that quote mark and the end quote mark is what's going to be rendered on the page. So that means that you can't use double quotes in your HTML code. If we go back over to my theme.html, you'll see here that I'm only using single quotes. And that's because it would break the variable if we used a double quote. So the first thing you need to do with your design is just take away all of the double quotes. If there's a time where you have to use it, and sometimes you do, you might be putting a JavaScript tag in there or something, you could do something like this. You could change it to a double quote and then put a backslash before it, and that just escapes it and sort of says to the theme, well, this is okay. It's not actually part of the variable, but it's just easier to use single quotes. Okay, we'll go down. If we look at my original theme, I've got my editor text here, and it says this is where our logo will go. If you look back over here, there's a tag here that says logo. So you got left brace, then logo in capitals, and then right brace or curly bracket thing. And what that does is it actually goes and grabs the logo from the default place on the web server, and I'll show you where that is later. Actually, I'll tell you where it is now. I've just got to ask myself where it is. It's over here. The easy way to find out is just go to it and right click on it and go properties. So it's stored in the E107 images folder, and it's called logo.png. Now it's a good idea to actually keep it in there, because then if you want to use this theme for another website, then it's easy for you to just re-upload the logo to that area, and it's also easy for your clients because they can just use the file manager in E107 to upload logo.png to that place, and it'll replace it. We go down a bit further, site links menu. If we have a look on my original theme here, site links, this is where they'll go. I'll show you what it looks like on the actual page. There they are there. So we see in the theme that again we've got those curly brackets, and we just say site links equals menu, and that will bring in all of those site links there. Now we go down to our first column, which is this bit here. And what we're doing here is we're setting a style. Now I'm going to come to that later. I'll show you what it means soon. But here we say menu 1. Now I'll show you what that looks like in E107. So if I go back to the admin area and I go to content menus, see how we've got area 1 here? That directly relates to this menu 1 here. And what we can do over in E107 is we can put any of these menu blocks here. Well, I call them menu blocks. E107 calls them menus. I think it's clearer to call them menu blocks. I could add like this online menu block to go into area 1. In fact, I'll do that now. Activate in area 1. Now if I go back to the web page, we see that down here, the online menu, it's showing who's online at the moment, which is me. I'm logged in as Grands. If there is another user, it would say we've got 2 members logged in. And that's how we can move that into that menu block. Okay, let's go back to our theme. Carry further down. Right, so here's our center column, which is where our main content comes in. Again, we have a set style thing. It's actually nothing to do with CSS. It's more like a layout, which is actually at the bottom of this theme that we'll look at soon. W message, it's a warning message. It only shows if something's wrong on your website, but it's just there for convenience. So if there's a file that shouldn't be there, you'll go to your web page and it'll say, oh, you need to delete this file. It shouldn't be there. It's a security risk. Okay, so this top bit we could call the header area of our website. That contains our left column and just the start of our center column. Then we go to our footer area, which is actually our right column. So here we go, set style equals right menu, which is like a layout for the right menu that we're going to define later on. And then we call it menu area 2. So if I go back over into here, we can see over here, I'm going to need to maximize that. You can see menu area 2 there. Back to our theme. And then we come down to the bottom, the footer of the page. And if we look at the website, we can see that at the bottom we have Content Management System by E107, Web Hosting by Spinning Planet New Zealand. That's called the disclaimer. And you can find that in the admin area, settings, preferences, and down the bottom, it's here, site disclaimer. Okay, so that's the basic structure of our theme. Now let's go down and look at these styles that I mentioned earlier. Okay, for the link style, you can add some pre-link code, such as I might actually want everything bold, so I go bold before the link and then I close the bold after the link, and let's just save that and I'll upload it to the server. And that's theme.php. I'll put that over there too. Oops, go back, and now let's refresh that page and see how all of those just went bold. Of course, I don't really want them bold because that's ugly, so I'll take that off. It's just to show you what it does to that link style. You've got different types of link display as well. You can make them vertical. There's some other ones too. What I'll do is I'll provide you a link to the tutorial page that talks about that. Let's go down to the next one, news style. By default, the E107 front page is actually news.php. Good reason for this. It means that your content is constantly updated because you're always adding a news item. You should try and add a news item at least once a month. Search engines will like you more because your content's changing all the time. Your customers will see that you've got a vibrant website because your content's always changing, and it also makes you just keep on adding content to your website, which makes it a lot more relative. So that's why it's news.php by default. This controls the style, so let me show you what we can do in there. So we've got new style. This is the default one that was in the theme before I edited it. But what I'll do, there's our news title. You could actually put anything you want in here, but again, I'll just use the example of bold. So there's our bold tag. Upload the theme. Oh, wrong one, that one. Refresh the page. Which is taking a while. There we go, and that just made our title bold. We could also format the news body text that's here. We might want to give it more padding or something. You can do that yourself, or see how it has its own class defined here as well. So you can do that in the CSS, which we're going to look at shortly. You'll also notice that at the bottom of this, there's actually some more E107 tags, like email icon, print icon. If you don't want these, you can just delete them, but you'll notice them on the page. So there's our print icon. The nice thing about this is it'll automatically convert your content into a nice printable form for your users, which is quite a nice feature. You can also make comments and stuff if it's turned on for that content item. Most of the time I turn that stuff off. Oh, sorry, that's the edit icon. So that allows me to go straight in and edit that news icon. The edit icon looks different on different pages. For the news page, if I just go back, sorry. For the news page it looks like that, but for content pages, which is another area of E107 called the E107 Content Management plugin, it actually comes up as a hammer. So I'll just go in there so I can show you the hammer. There it is there. And that allows you just to go straight in there and edit. You've probably seen that before, so I'll go back over here. And there's also, if it has a PDF attached, it would show the PDF icon and other stuff. So that's the new style. This is where you can define the icons. These icons are actually stored in your theme folder. If we go back and have a look at our structure here, we have all of our images that we're using in our theme. So those are referred to there. Okay, table style. Now this is a bit trickier, but you'll get the gist as we go along. Okay, so this is actually a PHP function that's saying we're checking that the content page or the news page has a caption, that it has some body content, some text, and what mode it is. So it goes along and it checks that, and if it has a style, a certain style, then it'll stick there. We'll just carry on down a little bit, and I'll find something that looks a bit more like HTML. Actually, I think we'll save this one for a more advanced topic in a later tutorial, where we can set up multiple different styles. And the reason you would want to do that, if we go back and have a look at this theme, the reason we'd want to do that is we could actually create it so this has a different color and background to this side over here. And I'll give you an example of that if I go to Spinning Planet. It's a pretty old theme, but it illustrates that point. So we can see here that down the left hand side it's all blue. Down the right hand side, the top one I have up here has a blue background, and then we've got this greeny thing here with borders and stuff. All of these menu block areas are quite different, and the way that I've done that is I actually set up a function that goes through and makes anything on the left hand side that color and anything on the right hand side that style. It's more advanced. You should at least make 2 or 3 themes the basic way before we get into that. So again, we'll do that in a more advanced tutorial. Chat box style, again, that's just like the news box. You can determine what the chat box is going to look like.